Okay, so Tom Kha Gai. This delicious Thai soup is famous across the world for its fresh and aromatic flavors. It's packed full of spices, making it really good for you. And I was actually recommended to make this by a friend of mine, and it seemed fit since I've been to Thailand twice now, and over the few months that I've been there, I've ate it at various places, and I feel by now I have a good understanding of what it should taste like. You can break this dish down into three pieces: Tom meaning soup, Kha meaning galangal, and Gai meaning chicken. With that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna break our ingredients up into three sections, and I'll write a list of everything I use and put it in the description too. First, we have the galangal. This is a rhizome. It's related to ginger, but it has its very own distinct taste. A lot of people try to substitute the ginger for it because they look similar, and it can be a little more difficult to find. But I promise, if you look at your local Asian supermarket, it's bound to have it. I'm gonna throw in and use this ginger as well, because I really like the freshness that it adds. Next, you have the lemongrass. I've got this growing in my backyard, so I was really excited to use it and put it in with this. Then you're going to use about 3 limes. I use about 2 for juice and 1 for garnishing. Then we have keffir lime leaves, Thai chilies, cilantro stems for the soup, and then cilantro leaves for garnishing later, as well as some green onions. On the right, I've got a mixture of mushrooms. I've got some oyster mushrooms and then just some plain white butter mushrooms that I needed to use in my fridge. Okay, so for our sauces and seasonings, this is everything you're gonna need. Firstly, I've got some soy sauce. You're gonna want some fish sauce. You're gonna want some chicken stock. Anything you have is fine. I just dissolve the Knorr cube into some water for convenience's sake. You're gonna want some chili oil, and then you're gonna want some palm sugar. Now, white sugar works fine, but this gives a much more deep richness that I really enjoy. You're gonna want some coconut milk and then some chili powder. Oh, and last but not least, some salt. Like with anything, you're always gonna need some salt. Lastly, you're gonna need some chicken. Now I've gone ahead to use chicken thighs. I think it's a lot better, but if you have breast, that works perfectly fine too. And if you're vegetarian or vegan, feel free to just add some more vegetables and take out the chicken and fish sauce, and this will make it completely meat-free. So now let's get all of our ingredients ready for the pot. With the back of my knife, I'm just bruising and hitting this lemongrass. It's gonna break up and release a lot of that flavor before I chop it and put it in the water. So cutting through the lemongrass can be quite difficult even with a sharp knife. So you're going to want to cut it at an angle and be careful of your fingers. With all of this, a rough chop is fine. We're not actually going to be eating any of it, and we're just using it to season our soup because it's way too hard and chewy to eat. This is the galangal. It is super hard and it's very tough. So be careful when you're cutting it, keep your fingers out the way, and cut off a nice base so it's stable when you go to chop it. So now for our Thai chili and keffir lime leaves. The keffir lime leaves, you just want to give a little rip into them. This is going to help release the flavor into the soup when we go to boil it. For the Thai chilies, I'm going to use about 3. This is up to you for however spicy you want it. For me, this was about perfect. Remember, we're going to use the chili powder as well as the chili oil later. Now we've processed all of those, you're ready to add it all to a pot. I've got about 2 cups of water and about 2 cups of chicken stock here. Everything you're adding now is just going to be seasoning the beginning of our soup. I'm going to add some salt to help it along, but all of this is getting strained out as it's way too hard to chew. We'll add your galangal, ginger, cilantro stems, lemongrass, chilies, and keffir lime leaves and bring that to a boil. Once it's at a boil, we're going to add our coconut milk. Give that a stir and then add your lime juice. I've got about 2 limes worth of juice here, but really roll these out and try to coax up the juice inside before squeezing them, because these really gave me a hard time. This quarantine's got me feeling really weak and these limes were tough. So bring that all to a boil again. And you're going to want to taste as you go. This is something that I think home cooks miss out on a lot, is really tasting your food as often as you can. And I'm just tasting here for how much of the flavor of our aromatics has released yet. And I'm going to let it go for about 20 more minutes. Once that's been going, I'm going to give it another taste. All that flavor is really released into the soup now, and it's ready to strain. So now on the side, you're going to want to get another pot and a strainer. We're going to separate our soup now, as all of that flavor has been really nicely absorbed, and you're going to discard the rest. Gently, without making a mess, you're now going to pour all of that soup into the other pot. So now you have just that, you can add your chicken and mushrooms. You're going to let these go for about 15 minutes or so until the chicken's fully cooked. But as we're doing that, I'm going to add all of our seasonings. Here I've combined about 3 tablespoons of each soy sauce and fish sauce, and I'm going to add that to the broth. Now for some palm sugar. I started off with about 3 tablespoons, but I added more later in my final tasting to adjust to what I liked. And then for some chili powder. You're going to let this go and cook for another 10 minutes or so until all these spices have fully absorbed and that chicken is cooked. We're pretty much done here. Now I'm just taking a final test and I'm going to adjust a little bit more for my final liking. But the chicken's fully cooked and your soup is done. Now all you have to do is garnish. Lastly, I'm just going to add some chili oil. This is going to give it that final kick, and it also gives an orangey hint to the top of the soup where the chili oil kind of suspends, and it's a really pretty look. Now all that's left is some final touches to make it look good. And if we're honest, not a lot, because it's already gorgeous. I mean, just look at that. So add some green onion, a little more chili oil, a few leaves of cilantro, and a lime wedge. And boom, that is a Tom Kha, and a damn good one at that. And eat that bowl of soup up like you haven't eaten in weeks. And maybe say a few bad words to yourself to express how good it tastes, like I am here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and leave any feedback or things you'd like to see or fix below. This is my first video and I appreciate any of the things you have to say. So thank you so much. Come back again next week for another new video. See ya.